Did you know that most of the combos slipping through your fingers aren't down to your reflexes, but to the milliseconds a joystick needs to travel back to center? That's why half the fighting game community has moved to leverless controllers, flat panels where every direction gets its own button. No pivot, no travel, no spring. You press and the signal fires, and that changes how you land one frame links or how you escape pressure in the corner. Choosing well isn't about counting buttons though. It comes down to switch actuation force, how the board resolves SOCD when you hit left and right together, whether your console recognizes it without a fuss, and how much noise it makes at 3 in the morning. These are the 7 best leverless controllers you can get your hands on in Europe right now. All the links are down in the description. Let's dive in. We kick off with the Haute42 C16 Cosmox, the smartest entry point into this format, and look, the value here borders on ridiculous. It packs 16 buttons in a dual layout with an extra jump up top and a side button for your pinky, so you can play classic hitbox style or go full WASD if you come from a keyboard. Inside runs the open source GP2040 CE firmware, which you configure from your browser in 2 minutes and which pushes latency below a millisecond. The switches are low-profile Kale, hot swappable with no soldering, and they deliver that deep thock that gets seriously addictive. On PlayStation 5, you'll want an external adapter so the console doesn't drop the connection every 8 minutes, though on PC and Switch it works flawlessly the moment you plug it in. And watch the detail almost nobody appreciates. The OLED screen in the center shows the active SOCD mode and selected platform in real time, meaning visual confirmation that you're playing within tournament rules before the judge even asks. If your battlefield isn't a desk but a sofa, the 8-bit Do arcade controller rewrites the rules. Connectivity and retro looks run the show. Bluetooth, a 2.4 GHz receiver that clips magnetically into the chassis, and a USB Type-C cable. The battery lasts between 30 and 40 hours. The panel is a slab of tempered glass with 16 buttons, and here comes the clever bit. The 4 extra ones are bean-shaped and slightly angled so your fingertips can tell them apart by touch mid-exchange without ever looking down. At 1.1 kilos with folding feet, it plants itself on your lap. Picture it. Sunday afternoon, Switch hooked up to the telly. You sprawled 3 meters away on the sofa, chaining emulation and fighting games with not a single cable in sight. The stock Kale Wizard switches are clicky and need 65 grams of force, so your partner will know exactly which frame you got comboed on from the next room. If you live with sensitive people, swapping in silent linear switches takes about a minute. The LEDs under the glass relabel the buttons depending on the console connected, saving you the usual disorientation jumping from Switch to PC. Complete change of philosophy with the Krom Kumite, because this one doesn't arrive at your door as a leverless. It arrives as a classic lever arcade stick with 8 mechanical buttons and a metal chassis weighing 1,240 grams, heavy like a 90s cabinet panel. So, what's it doing here? It's the community's favorite blank canvas for conversion. Its price is about as low as you'll find, its materials tolerate drilling without cracking, and the interior is roomy. The ritual is well known. Pull the lever, drill 3 24mm holes and 1 30mm hole with a step bit, wire in Sanwa or Seimitsu buttons, and you get a tournament-grade leverless for a fraction of what a premium one costs. Out of the box, it works on PC, PlayStation 3, 4, and Xbox One, with an original pad plugged in behind it validating the session. If you enjoy the screwdriver as much as the game, this is your weekend project. At the opposite end sits the player who wants to plug in and compete with zero surprises, and that's where the Hori Nova comes in. Its big card is the official Sony license, native support on PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, and Windows. No adapters, no strange disconnections. The Reactor Revision carries 15 buttons in a split layout, with extra actuators for thumb and index finger, remappable through its app. Actuation at 1mm, 2mm of travel, and just 40 grams of force. It sounds so soft that instead of a mechanism, it feels like you're tapping the panel with your fingertip. Against the Haute42, you lose customization, but gain complete peace of mind on console. It weighs around 720 grams, has a tournament lock and a clamp that anchors the cable to the chassis, so if somebody trips over the cord in a grand final, your controller stays connected. That sensitivity takes a week to get used to, so you stop resting your fingers, and once it clicks, it's an absolute joy. The Mayflash F500 Flat goes in exactly the opposite direction to the ultra-slim trend, and it does so proudly. It's an imposing box with metal panels and 2.3 kilos of heft. What for? So it doesn't budge a millimeter. Its 14 24mm action buttons and 30mm jump button respect the generous spacing of Japanese Victrix cabinets, so if you have big hands and cramped layouts give you cramp, this is paradise. Picture a Tekken Knight, the board resting on your thighs, you hammering aggressive inputs, the shell holding firm like a rock. It accepts standard arcade components with quick disconnect terminals, so fitting Sanwa buttons takes 2 minutes, and it's worth doing because the stock ones have a softer return than a demanding competitor asks for. Where it truly shines is the physical SOCD switch. 5 modes you can change on the fly without opening any software. If tomorrow's tournament changes the rule, you turn the selector and done. We climb a serious step with the Turtle Beach Victrix Pro KO, awarded Best Tech Product at EVO and built for those who do this for a living. Its architecture is modular, the aluminum front plate comes off entirely, and you can physically relocate up to 16 buttons across the panel, not just remap them in software. You build your own controller anatomy. It mounts hot-swappable Cherry MX Speed silver switches, RGB rings, and a metal chassis of 1,225 grams designed alongside champions like Momochi with a 6.28-degree slope right where your wrists rest, a blessing for your tendons across 5-hour training sessions. Against the Kitsune, you trade optical speed for total freedom of placement, and for plenty of people that swap pays off handsomely. It brings a cable anchor, system button lockouts, and mounting points for a shoulder strap, something you appreciate crossing airports on your way to a major. It sits in the premium tier, and it's worth updating the firmware out of the box so tournament mode behaves perfectly. The detail that has me smitten. Under the plate sit compartments holding spare switches, blank caps, and the puller, meaning a 30-second emergency repair without hauling a toolbox around. We close with the Razer Kitsune, chasing theoretical zero latency. Its linear optical switches close no metal contacts. They register the press with an infrared beam, killing the debounce delay that mechanical controllers program in so they don't read one press as 5. Actuation at 1.2mm, 45 grams of force. With one frame links, the signal resets faster than your finger can lift. Physically, it's absurd. 19.2mm thick, 800 grams, an aluminum plate with chroma lighting, and it slides into your backpack's laptop sleeve like a tablet. It runs natively on PlayStation 5 and PC, with cable lockout, tournament mode, and firmware that lets you change SOCD from the device itself. Its layout is strict, 12 buttons in the original hitbox arrangement, so if you were after the hybrid 16-button layout of the Haute42, this isn't your road, it's a controller for speed purists, and on those terms it's sublime. So, by profile. If you're starting out and want maximum return for minimum outlay, the Haute42 C16 Cosmox is unbeatable. If you play from the sofa and hop between Switch and PC, the 8-bit Do arcade controller for its rock-solid wireless link. If you love tinkering and want a bespoke Leverless on a small budget, the Krom Kumite is the perfect base. If you compete on PlayStation 5 and want no scares, the Hori for its official license and its silence. If you have big hands and miss that arcade spaciousness, the Mayflash F500 flat. And at the summit, the Turtle Beach Victrix Pro KO if you value ergonomics and placing buttons wherever you like. Or the Razer Kitsune if pure optical speed and extreme portability are your thing. All the links are in the description. Tell me in the comments which one you're taking home and whether you come from a lever or already play Leverless. See you in the next one.